Well, I got what I wanted, even if it happened rather creepily because...
Shrooms?
But hey, it happened. For those of you playing along at home that may be watching this for the first time, hey, how are you doing? I'm Chris. Be sure to like, favourite, subscribe and do all the YouTube stuff that YouTube wants you to do. Hey! For those of you that are just joining me for the first time or haven't really been following along, one of the big things I've been worried about for this whole arc that we're getting into is the fact that the fights between Class 1A and Class 1B would ultimately be rather one-sided. That Class 1A would always get the win in the end despite how good Class 1B would do it. That even if there was a little bit of jeopardy, it would only ever be a little bit of jeopardy. Maybe you'd have a moment in the episode where it looks like Class 1A is going to lose, but then just at the last minute they do the right thing to end up getting the win in the end. I worried that that was being the case, and, well, for a good part of this episode I worried that was going to happen. Around the point in which Kendo had the cannon pointed in her face, I thought, right, that's it, she's done, it's over folks, we're going to have yet another win for Class 1A, and that didn't happen. Again, I thought that definitely was going to happen, that she was going to get taken out by Momo, or alternatively, Momo was going to fire the cannon, it was going to put someone's life in danger, and Kendo would throw herself in front of the bullet to stop it hurting anybody important, or anybody in general, and would end up getting taken out there and then. She would have sacrificed herself doing something incredibly heroic, but still would have ended up going out, and in the end, Class 1A would have won, even if it felt a little bit of a dirty victory for them. That didn't happen, as is evidenced by the episode itself. Class 1B got the win. It was a very tight win in the end, but a win nonetheless, and I am rather happy to see that actually happened, even if it does feel there's a little bit of Deus Ex Machina coming in here with the whole thing with Shroom Girl's creepy throat shroom stuff. I mean, all that stuff with her this week's episode has been really creepy, but I'm here for it because, you know, I like seeing creepy kind of stuff in programs like this. Sometimes it can be a bit much, but, you know, it worked. She was definitely an interesting presence to have in the episode, and both her and Manga were interesting to see. As I've said previously with episodes to do with this story arc, it has been great to see what Class 1B can actually do. Up until this point, we've not really seen much of them at all. We've let alone actually see what kind of quirks and abilities they have. They've just been in the background, looking kind of neat, but not really doing anything really big, important, or really that interesting. And this week we could see what they can do. And what they can do, certainly as far as this week's episode is concerned, is be rather creepy at times. Certainly I find the Mushroom Girl to be a lot creepier than the whole shadowy guy that they've got on their side of things. And I'd have to say that I did really like the joke about them wondering whether or not Manga's quirk will work in other countries. You know, he's all onomatopoeia using his voice kind of deal. You know, I really enjoyed that bit. One of the things I really did appreciate from this week's episode was the bit where we're dealing with Momo and her insecurities. I had worried that we wouldn't be seeing this ever again. It would just be a one-episode wonder, just a little thing to get over in that episode, and then we'd never see it again. I mean, this kind of thing happens a lot in superhero fiction, particularly some of the stuff that I watch, where you'd have the episode where one of the characters is essentially just having a mental health breakdown kind of thing, but all it takes is an inspiring speech from Superman or Batman, and then magically everything's back together again. They're fighting and fighting the good fight again. We didn't really get that with Momo. She kind of had a bit of a breakdown bit, and I imagine that towards the beginning of next week's episode, she'll be feeling really self-conscious about the fact that she lost and it was all her fault. She'll end up feeling like it was. And I really do appreciate that. Like I say, I had been worried that this would be a one-episode thing, that it would have just happened in that one episode that we had a flashback to in this week's episode, and that really would have been it. She'd have got the inspiring speech from Shoto, and then it would just be never brought up again. And it adds an extra layer of dimension to her character, and that is something that a lot of these characters need. They need to be a little bit more than just a quirk and a gimmick and a one-joke kind of deal. They need a bit more to them to actually make us care about them in the long term of it. One of the things I'll certainly say for this show and the manga itself's favour is the way in which the writer is able to really make us care for this such an extended cast of characters. They always have something to do, something to contribute to what's going on within the story itself, or even just within that scene. Sure, we didn't really get that much with last week's, or rather last year's season, but that's understandable given what the episodes themselves were about. And to see them back actually doing something, contributing something, is really fantastic to see. And to be honest with you, dear watcher, if it was down to me, I wouldn't be able to juggle this many characters. I would have cut it down by now, but hell, the fact they can do so much with this many characters is really just a fantastic thing to see and to be able to watch week in, week out. All in all, it was a solid episode, a really great episode. If I am to be very, very nitpicky, and this isn't a major issue, but I found the pacing towards the start of the episode a little bit too fast for me. Like, it kind of felt that we're just going into this at 100 miles an hour without a moment to really catch our footing, which we ended up getting around the time of the first ad break coming along, but still, it was a little bit difficult for me to just quite get into it at that moment, but hell, in the grand scheme of things, it is a rather minor gripe, and at the end of the day, this is an episode what was taking place midway through a fight, so yeah, it's going to be fast-paced to begin with it, and in the grand scheme of things, if you're going to be binge-watching all these episodes, you're not going to notice it anyway, so, you know, what's there to do? And besides, if you were watching this in Japan anyway, you'd probably be watching this after watching another fast-paced adventure show anyway, so, you know, you can be going to be in that mood anyway. It's only for people like me that wake up as early in the morning as they possibly can to watch it. Watching it while they're eating the porridge, that it can be a little bit too fast for us. But what about you, dear listener? What do you think about this week's episode of My Hero Academia? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you shortly, either directly in the comments themselves or towards the end of next week's video. And be sure to like, favourite, subscribe, click the bell for more videos from me, and be sure to support your small local content creator. YouTube is an increasingly scary place for small content creators these days, and everything you can do to support them by tricking that mean old algorithm into thinking that we've got something to say, the better. As always, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye! Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, favourite, subscribe, click the bell, and do all the YouTubey stuff that YouTube wants you to do. Go on, it'll do me a power of good. Until next time, my friends, goodbye!